welcome to the Rumble Pak Podcast, episode 36. I'm Devin.
I'm Blake.
Still Brock.
And we have
Tyler from Dadbodgames.
Special guest, Tyler from Dadbodgames.
Is Tyler from Dadbodgames a robot?
He is.
Well, so there's a couple things that have come out recently. Very recently. I think by our little stuffed thing here, you can probably guess what one of the things is about. Pikmin 3 is coming to the Nintendo Switch. How do you guys feel?
Well, first of all, why do they keep dropping like these game announcements? Just like, hey, we got a game coming out of nowhere.
No, I totally agree with you. It's a random day, random time. It'll be like Pikmin 3 Deluxe, this random remake. And they'll be like the most random release dates. It'll be like
October,
1 month and 1 day
October
from
30th,
now. Like this got released tomorrow.
Yep. Why do they keep doing that?
I feel like it's because they don't have enough to really like put together a big presentation for it. They just have these like smaller sporadic things that they're doing, and they're just like desperately trying to push anything out because they really don't have a whole lot.
But it's like, what if at the beginning of summer or like during what normally is E3 time, like in June, they could have wrapped together like Origami King. They could have wrapped together obviously Pikmin, since it would have been ready by then.
So what you're failing to realize is that Nintendo is the master of hype. In their offices, they've got a giant meter on the wall. It's like the Nintendo hype meter, right? And they've done the math. See, if you do that, then hype's just like here all summer, right? Instead, they go games, games, and that's their strategy.
I almost thought that might be a thing where they're just like they're so tired of doing directs because they do like the Nintendo partner directs and release like WWE Rumble or whatever. They're like, let's get no one's hopes up and set no expectations, and then just crank out the game that everyone's been wanting. Just say it's coming out right now today.
You have to think about the fall this year too. PS5 and Xbox releasing too. They, no matter what they release, isn't going to compete with two next-gen consoles coming out.
Yeah. Well, do you think like their strategy is you think they're kind of laying off the gas a little bit to let those other consoles kind of have their day, and then they're going to push out more stuff afterwards? Is that what you're saying?
I could see them planning that kind of attack. Like when consoles release, there's usually a couple months after where there's not a lot of games to play.
True.
And so Nintendo could take advantage of that in those months and start releasing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I mean
that's true, because they do have one game in the pipeline that can compete with next-gen consoles just because it starts with a Z. But that's the only thing.
I want to hear that.
Yeah, we know nothing about it.
When will we get more Zelda 2 news? Or Breath of the Wild 2 news?
I would not give predictions on that. There's no way anyone knows.
No one randomly.
You think it's going to be like a Pikmin 3 drop? They're just going to drop like a trailer? Like, yo, what up? No direct or anything.
September comes around.
That would be, for Zelda, that would be insane.
No, what they're going to do is the Metroid approach. And release a video with just the logo. They've
already gone past that, though.
They have.
No, they haven't. They have not shown the logo.
They haven't shown the logo, but they've shown like actual like cutscenes.
Exactly. It doesn't have to make sense. Why does this have to make sense?
It really doesn't. It's like Nintendo can. I don't understand. Like, I really don't understand.
Honestly, like if they just came out with a picture, like a logo or whatever, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
It just lets me know that
they're still working on it.
It hasn't been scrapped yet. I think about this every day. I think about it so often.
I wake up every day and I think about it. Every night
can't
before I go to
sleep
bed, I
because
think
I
about it.
You check the Zelda dojo.
Yeah.
Do we know when the last first-party Nintendo game was released? That wasn't a remake.
First party?
I mean, that's Animal Crossing, but
Are you considering,
before that,
are you considering like Paper Mario?
or yeah.
That's true.
I mean, Animal Crossing or Paper Mario is probably the last big ones.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing
Yeah.
was what? It was like March 20th.
March 20 something.
Animal Crossing is killing it in sales too.
I saw that. Today I saw some report where, I don't know the exact number, but it just blew everything out of the water.
Yeah.
It did. It's the ultimate quarantine game for sure.
Well, there are so many people that you would never expect to be into video games jumping on that game. I feel like
Just because the hype around it.
there's so much hype. Well, and it's like people that had never even played Animal Crossing, I feel like got into this iteration so much.
For sure.
Which flows into our next topic. Did Nintendo create coronavirus, or are they just helped by it?
They created it to push the Animal Crossing sales. I knew it.
They are being held by it quite a bit. You are correct.
That is a good segue, though. We do have we have the second summer update out for Animal Crossing New Horizons.
That's true.
I saw that.
So we
I
got
saw that.
Fireworks.
new fireworks every Sunday that you can actually customize.
Yeah.
Which is...
I missed it for Sunday.
Did you do it, Brock?
I did,
Did you customize?
and it was entertaining. Yeah, of course. I mean, and really, it's picking patterns to be shot up into the sky. So it's not like anything amazing, but it's still cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm probably not gonna get on every Sunday just to see the fireworks, but
Right.
you know,
Did
it's
you
something.
participate in Red's raffle?
Oh yes, that's the big thing. So Red now has a little cart during the fireworks show, and you pay him like 500 bells and get a raffle ticket for one of, I think, like 12 prizes. And one of the prizes, which I'm pretty hype about for inexplicable reasons, are balloons that you can hold. So you can run around with little cute balloons.
That's pretty cool.
With
I saw that you can also get
Yeah.
little headbands with kind of like antenna.
Mm-hmm.
Is that from the raffle also?
I think that's just from Isabel.
no,
Or is it?
yeah, you just get it from Isabel
Okay.
when you talk to her.
Gotcha.
You can get...
There's also a fan, some, what do you call those, birthday party kazoo things with the little paper that shoots out and makes a noise. I don't
Little
know.
noisemaker thing.
Yeah, there's stuff like that, which is fun, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
It's there. It's in
it's
the
not game changing.
It's extra content.
Yeah.
Yeah, Summer Update 1 was better. I will give it that.
Adding the water, yeah, that changes the
Oh
gameplay.
yeah. The diving and getting the diving creatures, yeah. Because that's a whole other collection element, which people that's
Yeah.
basically what Animal Crossing is. It's like get all these things in your collection.
Right, and then you also get...
Before they announced that swimming update, had they hinted at swimming at all?
I didn't even know it was in the game since I hadn't played since Wild World. So
Right.
I thought it was a new feature when they announced it because I'm dumb.
I don't think they had. I mean, people had kind of broke the game a little bit and got outside of the bounds of your island, and they noticed that there was a lot of space between the island and what would be kind of the edge of the map. So there was a lot of room to swim around your island. So, I mean, there was some speculation, and there was nets that were, I think, beyond the bounds of your character's view originally. So people were like, why is the water contained in such a way?
Yeah.
So yeah, that dropped at the beginning of August, I think. So a whole bunch of new fish, sea creatures, and insects should be available also.
I just need one more fish. And then I'm
You need one
done
more
for this
fish.
month.
More fish.
So, in other news, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but I know we talked about Origami King a little bit, Paper Mario. But one of the big things, an issue with the game, was there was a game-breaking glitch. Did you guys know about this?
Before we talk about this, we didn't really talk about Pikmin 3, really. We just said that it was a thing. Should we give an update on, like, what it's...
Sure.
How it's different?
Sure, then we'll circle back to Paper Mario.
Okay. Okay, so
So we going
3,
Pikmin?
like we said, is coming to the Switch. It's called Pikmin 3 Deluxe. And I guess...
It's a completely new port.
completely new.
Yeah.
It's coming out October 30th. I don't know. I'm excited for it because I started playing it a couple years ago, but I never finished. And this one
I haven't finished it either.
Are you me? Are we all me?
I'm the only one that finished this game. Are you kidding me?
That's a good game.
On that case, quarantine's got me finishing stuff.
All right, add it to your backlog.
But it has a full story co-op mode, which is really awesome. And Blake and I are thinking of playing together.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna do that.
Oh yeah. It also
Tyler and I are definitely thinking of playing together
That's what I was
too.
gonna say.
Just so you know.
It's true. I'll finally come over to your apartment.
Make sure you wear masks.
Of course, social distance, 6 feet apart, please.
Or 6 feet.
And then it also has a few new things. So it has new side missions, which is kind of cool, and you can do lock-on targeting, which is nice and convenient. And then also it has new difficulty options. So
all the stuff.
good things.
Well, I mean that's good for if you had already beaten it on the Wii U.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is easy. I already know this. You can at least bump up the difficulty for extra challenge and do the side missions. I think those were originally paid DLC, so I think now they're actually included in the base game.
Yep.
Yeah, but it comes with everything.
Do you think they're gonna like remaster the graphics or something, or are they gonna?
I honestly think it'll just be a direct port. I don't think they're gonna do literally anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a slight upscale, but no, they're not like touching them
Yeah, I mean,
deliberately.
it's just gonna be the same treatment that Mario Kart gets, I think.
Yeah, that's what it is. It runs at 1080p, which technically the Wii U couldn't output. So
Oh, was it 720?
it's just being rendered higher.
The Xenoblade Chronicles remake they just made was a complete, they completely redid the graphics.
Oh wow,
It looks pretty good. Yeah,
I
it looks
remember that.
way better.
Yeah, I remember when that was announced, that because I had never gotten around to playing that game, and that I saw it being announced for Switch actually got me thinking about picking it up.
It's a good one.
Is it like a super long one? Am I gonna have to take 300 hours to finish everything?
If you want to do most of the side quests and stuff, you'll take about 80 hours collecting stuff and doing all the quests and such.
It's pretty good.
How long is the instruction manual? Because I bought X, and I read the instruction manual front to back because I was so confused. It was 75 pages.
Oh my gosh. I remember I went over to Brock's and he was playing that, and it was the most complex systems I'd ever seen in a game. I was like, what is this?
It's not that bad. Well, that one was not that
You needed
bad.
an encyclopedia there was 150 icons on the map. I was like, what is this?
That's terrible.
You get in your mech and go.
You didn't have a
Wait,
mech.
okay.
You'll get one.
Wow, late game spoilers.
You'll get one instantly if you played 1 second of it.
Well. Well, Paper Mario now?
Paper Mario, let's go.
Paper Mario.
I'm so ready to go
I
on
kind of
this
still
Paper
want to get
Mario.
it, but I'm not sure.
Okay, did we talk about the game-breaking glitch before? Did you know about this at all? Did anyone know about this?
I saw they patched it.
Yeah. So basically,
Spoilers.
There was a glitch. It was honestly super late game. It was the second to last place you go, basically you're trying to get all these stamps, and somehow you could lose your stamp book, and then the game would just, you couldn't access anywhere, you'd just be stuck. So Nintendo finally released
Nice.
that. It's been like, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks since it was originally found, so some people probably had to take a very long break from Paper Mario if they didn't start a new save file. But that's good.
I was actually expecting you to describe something that deleted the save altogether, which would have been way better.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. Turn your save into
It's a
origami.
Pokemon
throw it in
type
the fire.
Nintendo bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been like a Pokemon bug.
So they patched it.
It
You
is
got home
patched,
free.
It, as of today. I mean, that's not to say there aren't more game-breaking glitches, but I hope not.
Yeah. I don't think I haven't heard of any.
Yeah. I did finally beat that game, so I can finally give you a rating, Brock. I'm going to rate it an 8 out of 10.
Dang.
8 what out of 10 what?
8
Come on.
8 origami papers out of
Bobby the Bomb Mom.
10 Bobby the Bomb Moms.
Okay. Yeah, I see what
Okay.
I see it.
If we get another stimulus, I'll put it towards origami.
It's good.
We don't talk politics on this podcast, Tyler. Could you keep that out of here?
I think it goes towards this. That's all I said.
It's honestly one of the better Paper Mario games I've ever played. The things that it was lacking was I wasn't a fan of the battle system after a while. It kind of grew old on me.
After a while, it got boring. I could
Yeah.
see that.
I just prefer the just normal turn-based, how basically Thousand Year Door was, or the one for the N64.
Yeah.
Second kind of gripe I had was I wasn't a huge. I love the partners in the old games, and in this game you can't control the partners in battle, and you also can't. They don't have any abilities outside of battle, which they did in older games. It was kind of what helps you platform and navigate the world. So
Yeah.
just missing that element was just it felt kind of lacking in that department.
They teased you. They were so close,
like,
but
they would
didn't do
follow
it.
you, and like they had big like implications of the story. Like they affected the plot a ton, but they were just kind of following you. And then like you'd come into battle with them, and every once in a while they would do an attack or miss, but you couldn't control it. It was just all AI.
I don't like that because I'm replaying Thousand Year Door and like I can kick my Koopa partner and he can get me a badge and I can have the Goomba girl tell me what's going on and whatnot.
That's the other thing that I was kind of let down by also, was there's no badge system.
Oh really?
Because
No BP?
There's I guess that's another thing. Jeez, I may have to change my rating. there's no experience system. So
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So,
It's
like,
coins, you buy stuff.
yeah. So it's like you can't raise your HP. You can, but you do it in a different way, not an XP system. There's no
Yeah.
mana, flower power. There's no badge points, which I love the badges in the old games because it made it, depending on your
You can change your style.
yeah, depending on your loadout, you change your fighting style so drastically.
You can make it harder too. Like I just found a badge that makes Mario take double damage if I want to do puppet.
Right. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Origami King. It was a good game, and it's
Still 8?
fixed. What was that?
Still 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. I'd still say 8 out of 10. The story, the comedic elements,
It was really
the
funny.
world, it's just beautiful.
I enjoyed watching.
Make
it
up
play.
for like everything else.
So my question is it a good jumping off point, I guess, for the next game, or do you expect anything from the next game? Like, you think the next game will be even better from where they're going, or you just expect nothing again? They're gonna do what they do with Paper Mario and say, it's Paper Mario, but it's also completely different, and
Whatever they
it could
want to
be-
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. That's the thing that worries me, because I'm like, I don't know what drives their decisions at all, because it's like this game was so good, but I feel like if it doesn't sell well, then they're gonna try to innovate and completely change up the formula again, which
I think it's not selling too bad, actually.
Yeah, I haven't looked, but it's like
I think it's doing okay.
I feel like honestly this game was a step like closer to its roots, which was a good idea. So yeah, we'll see.
Well,
yeah, I can see that because there's an actual battle system, and like the Wii one, you just still jumped around.
Yeah, it's more of a platformer
basically
type
Mario.
thing.
I like the Wii one though.
I don't expect this question to be answered or anything, but how do you strike a balance between like getting back to the roots and then not doing the same thing over and over again? Because Pokemon has that issue where they've not changed the formula like at all, and people are really tired of it. But then there's game franchises or whatever that try to innovate, and people hate it, and then they go back to the original formula in a way, and then people are like, oh, it's the best game ever.
That's the thing, like after Thousand Year Door is when everything got switched up, which partially was probably because of the Wii and how just different of a console that was altogether. They made a different
for everyone
style of Paper Mario for that system. They really didn't have to do that, but I mean, that's what they were doing with every single one of their IPs, so I think that definitely had an impact. But the thing is, like, I've only seen that, like, Thousand Year Door is, like, the greatest Paper Mario game ever. So, like, in my mind, I'm just, like, it's just confusing as to, like, why would you make the switch there? Why would you completely have the best game ever that all the fans love, completely 180 it on the Wii, and then continue with like this weird formula? Why is it taking them so long to get back to kind of the roots?
Maybe they're just
they just need to remake Thousand Year Door.
Honestly, if they ported that, I would buy that in a second.
Instantly. Yeah, day one.
So many people would. It would be such a cash grab.
They wouldn't have to do anything.
Know,
just like, release it again.
They'd drop it and say, hey,
don't touch it.
It's available right now. Alright, best-selling Switch game ever made.
Charge me $60. It's fine.
You know they would. And I would buy it. They're not going to sell it for
at least
something.
The Switch is known for its ports, so I wouldn't give up hope.
That's true.
I'm completely okay with that. That's a good system.
I was surprised that they didn't like port Color Splash, since they literally port every single Wii U game ever made.
What's that called? Nintendo Land has not been ported, so let me know when they do that somehow, some way.
That wasn't a bad game. I like that.
I did not like that game.
It came with your
What
Wii
the
U?
hide and seek was so fun.
I thought
yeah, that's all I remember.
I thought we were talking about Color Splash still. I love Nintendo Land.
Okay.
I only think about Paper Mario. Don't you know this?
That's all you need to think about.
All right, we ready to get into the big topic of today?
Shall we?
Yeah.
So
crime and how it's terrible and
politics.
how they're
no. We need a break from all that. So okay, Tyler, you want to kick this one off? You want to talk about kind of our foray into this, how we even got knowledge of this or anything?
Yeah, today on the podcast we're going to talk about the Nintendo Gigaleak that is currently going on. It's probably been going on for about a week or two. Information's just slowly being released out from Nintendo, such as old source codes and different files from games such as Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64. And, yeah.
So it was funny because originally you were the one that I feel like kind of made us aware of this. You were like, did you see all that stuff that got leaked? And I
texted Blake and I asked, "Have you heard about the Gigaleak?" And he was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "The Nintendo stuff that's going on." He goes, "Oh, do you mean? I think you mentioned like Luigi or something."
Yeah, I was like, oh, like
that they
Luigi
found.
in Mario 64, like, because I'd seen like a brief glimpse on it just scrolling through social media, and I was like, that's it? Like, okay.
Yeah, but it turned out to be way more than just Luigi being in Mario 64. There's some Yoshi's Island stuff, Pokemon, Animal Crossing,
just way more in
Star
everything.
Fox.
Yeah, like
everything.
everything.
Because it's, since these are complete, basically repository dumps from these games, it's taken, like you said, 2 weeks for people to still pull new information from it.
Right.
So we're still getting updates about this.
Yep. So I think that a lot of people at first were kind of like, well, how do we know that any of this is like a real leak, or like the credibility of all this? So one is what Brock, you just said, just the pure volume of all this just goes towards its credibility. Like, it has, like, some of these have every single asset from like an entire game, which if you were gonna fake this, that's way too elaborate to have all of that information. Why would you have all that information also? And secondly, developers that have worked on some of these games, for example, there's this guy named Dylan Cuthbert. He worked on Star Fox, and he's actually been like, he's come out and said that, yes, like, I worked on this stuff is stuff that we worked on internally, and he's surprised that anyone was able to actually access it. So it is legit stuff that people on the inside have actually been working on.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything that's really looked illegitimate or something that people are just trying to sneak in. I think a lot of the fans and everything are just excited to unearth all this stuff they invested a bunch of development time into, but never saw the light of day.
Right. So, I think a quick disclaimer would be good before we get into all this. Basically, we're going to just be looking at unused assets, prototypes, scrapped ideas, sprite sheets and stuff. Basically, the assets and stuff, the models and stuff are what I think is almost the coolest stuff. Just being able to get a look into the unused material, I think, is always cool. Looking at alpha, beta, prototype stuff. There was a lot of private emails and internal communication that was leaked during all of this. Personal information, company secrets. We're not going to be going into that stuff. So yeah.
And nor should you, if you're a good person.
Yeah, don't do it.
I'm not going to tell you what you should and shouldn't do.
I'll put you in jail.
But
You shouldn't.
probably don't do that.
But
Yeah. Brock is threatening to find you.
Brock will find you,
You don't want to mess with me.
and he will throw a blue shell at your face.
The Ireland
Yeah.
listener base.
Yeah. He will find you, Ireland. He will find you. Alright. We're jumping in.
Let's do it.
So we've got these split up by IPs. First off, we've got Mario. Nintendo's biggest IP, and probably one of the biggest video game IPs in the entire world.
I would say so.
So Brock, you added this one. You want to talk about it?
Oh, I thought I deleted it. Well, I found someone had posted the original source files that they use for the cartridge art and the box art for Mario 64, and I like seeing this just because in my mind the cartridge art is a faded, craggly old sticker on the front of a cartridge that I never saw the full picture.
Right.
And now I can. Thanks to the Gigaleak. Thanks, Gigaleak.
Well, just the detail on this, it's so crisp. It's these images are so high res.
Yeah,
That's
they're
pretty-
literally like what was used to print it.
Yeah.
It makes you think, like, how many prototypes do they have drawn up? How many people are working on this, and what happens if they're chosen? What happens if they're not? Is
Right.
it just like a struggling artist hoping Nintendo picks their box art?
Honestly, I mean, like, that very well could be. I mean, these teams, I don't know anything about the size of the teams, but it's like, yeah, one person could have been working on this, or it could have been like 3 people and they decided on the best of 3. It's hard to say, but yeah.
Yeah, they
it's
could have a
interesting.
dedicated like person, like, your box art for this game.
Right.
Better make a bunch of prototypes.
But yeah, as we go through all this, it is interesting, like you said, to just think like, what happens to these prototypes? If they don't get pushed out in advertising or to the market, they literally kind of just go to die, honestly. Because
Yeah, that work is
the
just
odds,
gone.
The odds of like a company publishing this stuff later is like almost 0.
And that's why this is so cool.
Right.
Yeah,
But
the
terrible.
cool thing about it is, like, would be in like a book Nintendo would release.
Right.
Would release like 10 years from now.
Right. Okay, so this was a huge one, and again, this was the one that I first heard about from you guys. So, Luigi, assets for Luigi is actually in Super Mario 64, and it's a different, I believe it's a different head model and hat model. The mustache is different. The sideburns are even different. But yeah, there was like this. There's always been this rumor spreading around, kind of like an urban legend, that if you go to the very back of the castle, there's this little courtyard area, and there's this plaque, and I've got it on the screen right now. It's in the bottom right, but everyone always kind of thought this said L is real, referring to Luigi, and it's kind of crazy that now, however many years later, like, L is real. L is finally back. L is actually in Mario 64, the fabled, schoolyard legend.
Now we gotta go check on all the rest of them.
I know.
We're probably a few weeks away from people having Luigi up and running.
Oh, I know.
Nintendo originally planned for Mario 64 to be 2-player with Luigi and Mario, obviously, but the 64 couldn't handle it.
I saw some videos of, like, split screen. I didn't know if that was actually something that came out of this leak, but I mean, that just goes, if it was, that goes to prove that, yeah, that could have very well been a thing.
Yeah, it's hard for this gen to emulate a split screen.
I know, it's so tough.
In 64, yeah.
So next, Motos. This was something that people found in the files. This was actually a cut enemy. You don't actually see this enemy in the game. But people believe that this is almost like a prototype or a precursor to the bullies from the lava level. They kind of have a similar orb shape, but instead of just knocking you off the edge, people have got these working in game. They actually go over to Mario and they grab you and they actually throw you off the edge.
And the videos of them grabbing him, they seem like they might have been too hard. Nintendo might have cut them because it might have been a hard enemy.
Right.
It's exactly something they do.
Right, yeah. Too tough. Let's cut it for something that you just basically knock yourself into. This was another thing they found. It was basically this, like, text file where I believe it showed when they started development. And, people kind of backtrack that to when the game was actually released. This is talking about Super Mario 64. So people are kind of speculating that it took 622 days from start to finish to actually complete the game.
Which is nuts in how fast it is, in my mind at least.
Mine too.
For how completely revolutionary it is.
Yeah, because that's the big thing. You have to think about, before this, it was like Super Mario World, which is on the Super Nintendo. Side-scrolling, 2D. Just to take that IP and go from 2 dimensions to 3 dimensions has to be insane. And that they did it in less than 2 years is, yeah, like you said, it's just crazy.
You're right. Nintendo is the king of evolution.
That is true.
I can't wait for their first 4D game. It's going to be great.
When they make that jump from
When
3D to 4D, it's going to take 622 days.
We need Nintendo to step into the VR game and
We're going to
develop
get a
something. And that's
4D
when that'll take
VR
off.
Mario experience.
That would be ideal.
That actually
You get
does
to
sound
hit your own
fantastic.
Yoshi.
That sounds terrifying.
Spoilers.
Alright, so next, going away from Super Mario 64, there was a ton of these sprite sheets that were leaked for Super Mario World.
Yeah.
Lots of weird stuff in here.
Yeah, lots of weird stuff. Luigi's flipping people off. Some of the enemies just look like they're wild. We got old Yoshi, beta Yoshi.
Wait, is the orange thing Beta Yoshi? Guide me through here. I haven't seen these.
Okay, in
Sorry.
the top left area, let's start there. Do you see this? It's like almost looks like a skinny Yoshi.
Oh, yeah.
That was the original Yoshi design for Super Mario World.
Yoshi the Salamander. You got it.
Yeah.
It's not too crazy different, but the design now is way better, of course.
It just looks so gross to me. I don't know if it's because I'm so used to seeing normal Yoshi or what.
That would have been a weird transition into like 3D and like a beautiful world, because this one definitely looks like he doesn't look too good.
Yeah. Like going forward, they're like, all right, everything has to be like soft and rounded. Like none of these weird, like skinny, pointy features. Also, something I noticed directly to the kind of right of Yoshi, there's these. They almost look like what would be the robotic Koopas. You know when you go into Bowser's Castle and there's the little wind-up Koopas?
Oh,
Yeah,
They look.
Yep.
I see that.
I kind of get that vibe from them. And then directly below that, there's like these angry Koopas. They almost look like the Kremlings from Donkey Kong or something.
They kind of do, yeah.
it was before they decided that everything in the Mario world has to look happy, even if it's an enemy.
Right, it has to be a nice enemy.
Imagine like a Goomba with that face,
Oh, I
too.
know. They'd never do that.
Scary. These bullet bills over here are scary. They have like grills on.
So yeah, the bullet bills. So the big bullet bills that you actually see in game are not nearly as big as this. So it has
Yeah, those look ginormous.
it shows one for scale, kind of in the middle left section, and then it goes to show you another massive bullet bill that was intended for the game, which it takes up literally the entire screen.
Should have left it in.
Something that I
That's
also
Also-
there's levels where you jump on their heads to get across.
right, yeah, which you definitely would not be able to do that with it taking up the entire screen.
Yeah.
And by the way, those are bonsai bills, not bullet bills. Get it right.
The big
Plus
ones
a
that are
different
actually
rock.
in game.
The giant ones. Yeah.
I wonder if they had a different name for the even bigger ones.
Oh, for sure.
Grande bonsai bills.
Grande. So to the left of the bullet
Grande.
bills, you kind of see this like weird purple toad character. I was reading that in the game files, somehow you could interchange these for piranha plants. So I don't know.
What?
I don't know exactly how this works, but this maybe could have been a different enemy type that was in place of piranha plants, like this little weird humanoid flower toad.
The head is spiky, I guess.
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
I kind of
That's-
see like a flower-shaped head, and it's got like the parts of the flowers, you know, that some flowers have that come out for like pollen, as its like antenna.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Super Mario Bros. 3, like one of the castle like NPCs when you finally reach the end of the world that you talk to.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the little prince or whatever, king.
Yeah.
What else we got? Oh, so kind of in the bottom left here, it looks like there was a lot of experimentation with the cape item. So in the game, in Super Mario World, you get the feather item, and basically you get a cape. It's a yellow cape, and it allows you to fly if you run far enough. It looks like they were experimenting with like putting a helmet and a goggles on Mario. At one point, it looks like there was a red cape. Looks like at one point they tried wings out instead of a cape, which would kind of work. I think the wings work better with the feather item. They just make more sense. But it looks like they ultimately just decided on Mario with a yellow cape instead.
But R.I.P. the helmet, because the helmet is adorable. I need that to come back immediately.
It honestly, I don't know why they would take that out. I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool too, actually.
So yeah, I think we've covered all of those. There's another slide of all these.
Yeah.
Just really weird stuff.
I think, like, the princess laughing down here, I'll mark it. It's a really scary one. I think that's probably the biggest one on here is that, like, I can't see that being used
I know.
gracefully.
When people were like speculating, like, is this when Bowser like takes Princess Peach? Is she like screaming like
Screaming.
"No, Mario"?
I can see that, yeah. I like how plump Luigi looks too when he's big.
Oh, I know.
He's got a big bottom area.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I was
One
like,
could
I'm here
almost
for it.
say he's got a dad bod.
He does have a dad bod. I'm here
Luigi
for
was
it.
the original dad bod, honestly.
I need to take that icon. I need to put that out.
I'm gonna edit that a little bit. Well, directly to the left of Peach, also you see Mario. There's a Mario sprite without a hat on, which is kind of strange. You never see that in game.
I like it. That looks good.
Different colorations of Mario, kind of like in a blue color in the top left. You can also see him with a Tanuki tail, which is never in game. Large buzzy beetles, those aren't in game. There's actually sprites of Bowser standing on his feet, which you never see. Normally in this game, he's only in his little clown car hovering around. You never see his actual legs. You only see his top half.
It's true. There could have been a Bowser fight plan there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the ending battle could have been way different than what it is in the actual game.
Yeah.
Lots of weird stuff. There's these like shark-like enemies that looks like they like the.
They look like I drew them.
I know they're so rough looking. I mean, there's those enemies that jump up from the lava. You know, they bite at you. I feel like those are kind of the same.
Yeah, I like those are kind of silly looking.
I think they look like Yoshi's mom's side, but
they
you know.
Yoshi's mom.
On the very right, there's this weird sprite that I have no idea what it is.
The like kissy face guy?
Yeah. Like, where would that ever be used? It doesn't even look like an enemy.
It doesn't. Maybe they had plans for NPCs to talk to.
Could be. Last thing that I think is notable in this one is in the very middle here. There's this like kind of foresty scene with these blue mushrooms. We never see that. I mean, like, is that a underground kind of like bioluminescent forest level? Like, what? I think that would have been pretty cool as a tile set or map or something.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's like a night tile set in Mario World normally, is there?
No, I mean, like,
there's the caves, but
but that's as close as you get to it. I mean, we saw
that'd be cool.
You see sort of that with Mario Maker now that you can do like the nighttime mode on stages, but that's of course way after the fact. So this was a really random one. I have no idea what this even is. It's basically a hotel, and you see all these balconies, and on all these random balconies there's just Mario characters. There's a Toad smoking a cigarette. There's Peach and Bowser. Mario's apparently like shirtless. Yoshi has his shell taken off. There's just like all kinds of wacky stuff.
Them just relaxing,
This wasn't directly related to any game when they found it, was it?
Not that I tried searching like what the origins of this was, and I could never find anything. So I
don't think anyone knows truly.
Like Kirby's in this, like okay, sure. There's like a little ninja guy.
Yeah, I refuse to call this canon. Toad definitely does not smoke in the Mario universe.
You don't know what he does.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe because you know how they had SimCity for the Super Nintendo. I was thinking like
that.
What if this was like a building in SimCity or something?
Just like little Easter eggs, that you barely ever see in game, but
I mean, I remember playing SimCity when I was a kid, but I really don't remember what the art style looks like, so I don't even know if this matches, but I mean, who knows?
Yeah, somewhat.
So that takes us into Mario Kart.
Yes.
So they found this character that was never implemented. It was basically just a racer with a helmet on.
That's Excitebike Racer.
Well, that's what people are saying.
Yeah.
Like, people are saying it's like Mach Rider or something. But it's just weird. Like, there's sprites of him not only in a cart, but on like a hovercraft, which I thought is crazy. It like looking at the hovercraft gives me like Diddy Kong Racing vibes.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, were there water levels like intended? Were there, I don't know.
Wasn't the idea for Mii's like way before everything? So could that be like a Mii, but they couldn't make it customized on Super Nintendo?
I mean, like,
just spitballing.
I mean, the Mii's, when you put them into Mario Kart, they basically look exactly like that. So it's very possible. I mean, like, you may have been. This could have been the human racer. This could have been you playing against all the Mario characters. One thing to notice also is that the Koopa character has a different back view. had a different back view originally. Kind of a more rounded head.
He looks like the Bone Koopa. I'm forgetting the name right now.
Yeah, Drive
Driver.
or something.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I saw.
So yeah, there's that. Just weird stuff. You can see what the Koopa looks like here in the top image. That's what it looked like in the actual game. So these two shots were actually from the Mario Kart 64 Alpha. So I was reading up on this top image that they actually used assets from the original Mario Kart to like play around in like these 3D environments or something.
So I love this because I never would have thought of this until you pointed out. But this is exactly like what they did to make Breath of the Wild. I think we actually talked about this.
Yeah.
And there's that demo where they used the original Legend of Zelda graphics, basically, a game engine, and then kind of added the new mechanics, such as like burning down trees and whatnot, into that in order to see how it worked gameplay-wise.
Right.
That's exactly what this is. Because even in the final build of Mario 64, the kart races are just sprites like that. That's no different.
Yeah, I would have never pieced that together, but that you're exactly right. Like, and that makes me think if they're still doing that to this day, like, what other franchises have they done that with? You know?
Right.
Is this just like common practice for Nintendo to take like their existing assets from the previous generation and like see how they work in their new generation? It's weird. The bottom image is a cut level. It's actually a town, a city.
A battle, probably, I assume.
I don't know. Everything that I came across, it looked like it was an actual race. But it looks like people were actually able to like throw a camera in here and kind of race around in it. And there's arrows that are pointing you in certain directions, which makes me kind of shy away from like thinking that it's a battle type level, because why would you have one route in a battle level?
Sure.
But it's apparently a very short course to get through. If you're actually racing through it, it only takes about 2 minutes or something to complete. So, who knows? But apparently Miyamoto at one point was interviewed and talked about a cut town, cut level that was in this similar vein. It was a city or a town or something.
It looks ambitious. I'll give it that.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Yoshi's Island, a game that we recently beat on the Nintendo Switch's online platform.
A cool thing about Yoshi's Island that I don't think is in here is that its art style is very unique, and I was reading that they actually, when they pixel shade, they usually do like double shades of the pixels, but in the Yoshi's Island, they only shaded the pixels once, and that's what really created the unique art style of Yoshi's Island.
That's interesting, yeah, because this Yoshi's Island, I've always thought that it looks so unlike any other game. It kind of just has this like just toy feeling, like this, I don't know, like childish.
It does feel childish. It feels like simple but like fun. It feels like I don't know, like what you would dream of or imagine as a child running through with Yoshi, like how the sun would look and how it would be. Yeah.
It's a children's program for Baby Mario. That's what I think of it as.
There you go.
For sure. I like it.
So, yeah, as I was grabbing some of these, I mean, just notice, like, at the bottom of some of these, the interface, you can see real early interface of what looks like maybe lives or something, coins, flowers collected, throwing
I'm
your
really
egg.
glad they didn't stick with that
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers 3 interface.
It looks pretty rough, but I mean it kind of goes with the vibe, honestly, of the game. So like in the top left image, there's like a spring item that I don't believe actually made it to the game.
Definitely not.
Yeah, directly to the right of that is kind of a bare bones screen that I found when you get a game over. It just says you lost. The bottom
I'm trying to
left,
think of what it says now.
yeah, I couldn't remember and I didn't look it up. In the bottom left, there's the score screen, and if you'll notice, there's actually a category that's not in the game. There's several categories that aren't in the game. Time point is not in the game. I'm guessing that's how quickly you beat the level. There's beat point, which people are thinking is how many enemies you hit. And there's also miss points, which may have been like a deduction of your points, which that doesn't exist.
That's not real.
It's not real. Doesn't exist. Not my Yoshi's Island. The end goal looks a little bit different. And then one of the big things that's going around is the baby Bowser, the Bowser Jr. fight. Originally had like a very different sprite for the final battle, which you can see in the bottom right.
Things giving me nightmares already.
I
Look
know,
at
like
that.
I thought when we were playing it that the sprite was scary, but this is just like even scarier.
For sure.
So, leading into that, there's this game that was never released called Super Donkey. That's what it's labeled in all these files. That people are thinking is some sort of Donkey Kong prototype or something. But
It looks like the Donkey Kong Jr. games.
right. But the weird thing is when you take a look at it, what game does this look like?
Yoshi's Island, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the exact same. It's just so weird.
It's kind of like, it looks like a man, and like the Donkey Kong is like Baby Mario and the man is like Yoshi.
Right. So that's what I had been reading too. Like, if you look in the bottom right, there's this monkey, and it's fully animated. It has all these different emotions and actions it can do. So people were thinking like, maybe the story is that there's this explorer guy, because he kind of has like this pilot's helmet on. Like,
Yeah.
he crash landed or something in the jungle, and he's got to save this chimp. I don't know which was
An Olimar type of dude.
yeah. Like, he's got to save this monkey he found or something. He befriends it, but like maybe that's Donkey Kong. I don't know. It's called Super Donkey in the files.
That's what I'm assuming, but who knows really?
But yeah, I mean, it looks so much like Yoshi's Island. Just every asset. It's almost like these assets were used in Yoshi's Island. I don't know if they actually were or not. But yeah, just weird stuff. I mean, obviously this never came out, but if this was something that they were working on, it definitely turned into Yoshi's Island.
For sure.
I'm just disappointed it didn't star a real donkey.
Right.
That's what I thought when I read this.
Yeah, what is a donkey?
Next up, we got Pokemon. Quite a
Pokemon?
Pokemon. So this was a weird
Yeah.
one. People think that you actually got to see the protagonist's dad for once in this game.
I mean, they already did that in Gen 3, though.
I guess that's true. And this would have been from
You just-
Diamond and Pearl, right?
Yeah.
Gen 4.
Mm-hmm.
You just blew
Gen
my
3
mind.
was
'Cause
kind of like a big main story kind of thing too.
Your mind has been blown, bro.
I just now realized that you never see your dad. And therefore, Nintendo's just like every Disney movie where the dad's just inexplicably dead, apparently.
Yeah.
He's out doing his own thing, dad stuff. You'll understand when you're a dad.
That's right. Once you get a dad bod, you'll figure it out.
You're there, but you're not there.
Yeah.
Thank you for your wisdom.
You'll know.
You're good.
I love that they gave him.
You'll be sitting there and you're like, this is what Kern meant.
Yeah.
Who's Kern?
Tyler.
Oh, okay.
Here's my address and social, too.
Can you bleep that?
Jot that down.
I love how they gave the dad the classic, like, balding head.
You have.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's the dad.
I love
it.
Well, you wouldn't know he was a dad otherwise.
Really
That could just
wouldn't.
be,
You'd be like,
the old man that
That's how
teaches
they
you to
know
throw
it's like
Pokeballs.
dad.
You're like, who's this dude?
And if he doesn't have a beer gut,
Well, he doesn't have a dad bod.
He
He's not a
definitely,
dad.
look at that model. He's definitely like, he's like leaned back a little bit
Yep,
because his
he's a
stomach's
dad.
so big.
He's a dad.
Look at that big shadow, too. He's got like a Snorlaxy shadow.
He's thick boy.
he looks like he's wearing some
thick.
sweats or something.
Oh yeah, he's wearing some sweatpants. He just got off the couch to come talk to you.
This one is such an abomination to me.
This one was so weird. Okay, so
This one is.
everyone has been passing around the middle image. So I wanted to show the image that's to the left to show that this is the image on the left with the white background is the actual files. People have been spreading around the middle image and calling that this is like the Pokemon God. This is the Beta Arceus with this balloon tail and the top hat and the bow, which it doesn't have in the game files. This is,
Oh, that's fake.
so the story behind this is a streamer got their hands on these files and they actually compiled the build and they put this Beta Arceus in the game, and there's the contest mode, where you can dress up your Pokemon, and each of these little elements, the bow tie, the top hat, the balloons in the background, are all things from the contest mode that they just added on to the Pokemon.
But that tells you that this Pokemon, it's not just something they shoehorned in there. They got far enough to add like places to put the bow and places to put the top hat.
Right.
So
They added like those special notches they add to the icon to attach stuff.
Yes.
So when you say this is Beta Arceus, you're not kidding.
Right.
Then someone said, "Wait, we don't want our god to be a tan blob."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how it even made it this far in the process.
I know.
It looks so god awful. Whoever even semi okayed this, they need to lose their job. It's so bad.
Oh wow. big
What if it was?
words.
Like, what is that? It's awful.
What if it was Miyamoto?
Yeah. What if it was?
What if Miyamoto wanted you to project your
Can
creativity
Miyamoto?
onto it?
That's blasphemy. Get off my show.
Well, if he allowed that, that's blasphemy.
He obviously didn't, because look at the image on the right.
I'm aware.
Well, to be fair, the image on the right is not a sprite. I still don't know if I've seen a sprite of Arceus.
True. So that is that. Weird, very weird stuff. These are just a bunch of images of kind of early Pokemon designs. A lot of these don't look much different than what was actually implemented into the game, but most all of them have slight differences.
Am I dumb, or does Empoleon start as a...
Yeah, Piplup,
That same-
Piplup looks
As
more
Piplup,
or less...
yeah.
More or
Okay,
less
then I'm dumb.
unchanged.
Never mind.
The middle evolution
No.
looks slightly different on the Piplup line. I'm just trying to think of some of the notable differences I see. The bottom left line, that's apparently the Gibble line.
Mm-hmm.
Gibble in production is not the reddish color you see. It evolves into Garchomp, which
It's blue.
it's blue. It's kind of a fan favorite, but that's probably the most changed one on this image. Combi and Vespiquen look a little bit different in the top right, but not too much. But yeah, I mean, like, the idea, the essence of the Pokemon is in all of these. There's just some slight changes. So there's several slides of these. We can point out anything that is really different.
What is that spiky blue thing on the right?
I think they all have.
So people are actually saying that.
I think they all have too many colors.
I mean, some of them honestly do. People are saying that the thing in the top right, the spiky thing, is actually Rotom.
Oh.
So
Yikes.
instead of like possessing or taking the form of something electric, it was just this electric ball.
Huh.
So you can see like Togekiss.
I kind of like that better.
It's different.
It reminds me of the Soot Sprites from Totoro.
Kind of, yeah. So there's all sorts of things here.
Togekiss
looks a little bit different, yeah. The one right below it, Carnivine, I can't remember what it's called. That one looks like it was done in like MS Paint, like Rotom, kind of. Like Hippowdon it's the same, but it's just different colors and stuff. Lots of these are like Abomasnow it's the same idea. It almost kind of looks like the anime version of Abomasnow or something. Got the next one. This one has a lot of legendaries on it. You can see Arceus again. Regigigas looks really rough on the right hand side. Again, it looks almost like a MS Paint image. Darkrai in the bottom left is what a lot of people think the very bottom left image is.
I mean, it looks like it.
It does look like Darkrai. I can see that.
But without like any features.
Yeah. I mean, above that, there's that orange Pokemon with 4 legs. Maybe 5 legs, counting them. I don't know. I'm not sure what that is. Like, to me, it almost looks like what Dialga looks like directly above it, but it could be something entirely different.
This looks like a legendary dog to me.
Yeah. Nose Pass looks again MS Paint. These next set are kind of mostly unchanged, but again, it's just giving you a view into what they looked like in their beta stages.
And inside look.
So next thing, Pokemon related, is apparently there was going to be a Pokemon MMO planned as early as Fire Red and Leaf Green era. This was, I mean, looking at the dates on this, it's dated November 2004. So that was a long time ago.
Is this a full PowerPoint about it, like they presented to people in the company?
They must have, because we have 2 slides of this. There's like 12 slides total. Not going to get into all of this, but I mean, pause this if you're watching the video version. You can read through a lot of the bullet points, but you can see like in the second slide of the PowerPoint that they, I guess, gave, you can see that they're planning for different, almost like patches or iterations to come out. So like they have plans for like 2005, 2006, early 2006, late 2006, for different things they're going to add to this. And what basically I've read through this, and what it looks like is you could play offline on your Game Boy Advance, basically Fire Red, Leaf Green, and then you'd somehow connect it to a computer, and you'd use the Game Boy as your controller, but you'd see the game through your computer monitor. And that's how you could connect to the online features. So there's all kinds of different things that are detailed here. Like there's an egg hatching system where you could hatch eggs if you're connected to the online version, which is almost like very reminiscent of how it works in Pokemon Go. So it's just
I was thinking.
it's just crazy to see some of these things that the Pokemon Company, I feel like, has just been holding on to or has had so early on that really Pokemon Go is like their first kind of Pokemon MMO. I mean, that's the closest thing that I can think of that is even MMO related using Pokemon.
Yeah, definitely.
So
My
there's-
question now is seeing.
Sorry, go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Brock.
Well, my question now is that they had somebody at least had a full idea here. What shot this down? Why didn't this happen?
Right. And like my thought is like 2004 is, it's not like super early age of the internet, but like it's still, I feel kind of, it's still before like we even had like the iPhone. Like think about
I was gonna say, like on that point, this is kind of early World of Warcraft era.
yeah,
We're talking about World of Warcraft at least. So
Right.
this could be just a development plan to compete with World of Warcraft, which was gaining
that's true.
20 million subscribers.
That is true. Because yeah, I mean like they had to see the success that came out of that and we're like, we need to jump on this.
Yeah, Christ, yeah.
So I'm going to hop to this next slide. Again, just tons of details here. You could apparently go into like the Pokemon centers and go to like the second floor, and there'd be like online battling that would take place there, trading. I mean, a lot of this was already in the game. Like you could already do some of that stuff if you connected with like the link cable, but you wouldn't have to connect to a link cable. You just connect to like your online, your PC, your computer, and you could just meet up there with just people who were playing the MMO, which is crazy.
I like this bullet point that 3D rendering feature in PC screen should be based on Coliseum code and 3D model library.
Right.
So they just wanted to extend the whole Pokemon Coliseum idea a little bit more into this, because this would have been after both 1 and 2.
Oh yeah.
So, and we never really got another Coliseum game after 2, right? So,
Not that I know of. So yeah, it's just crazy, just all this stuff that just never came to be. Oh, okay, this one I thought was neat. So there's always the story of how Iwata was famously known for being able to put 2 regions on second gen, gold and silver version, crystal version. And this is apparently showing off the code of that compression. So without
wait, the whole game is 25 lines? Is that what you're telling me? No.
but,
He's that good.
yeah, he's very efficient. But yeah, you can see it kind of in the top of the document in green in the comment. You can see like his initials and the dates that different people were working on this code and stuff. It's just kind of neat to. You always hear these stories and like kind of the lore, the Nintendo lore that goes around some of these, but to actually like see the, I guess not physical, but like a representation of it is neat.
I like how it's Iwata and then 2 other guys, and then Iwata comes in and says, "No, what did you do to my freaking code?"
Right.
And then redoes the whole thing in 96 and 98. But that's how I imagine it.
Right. Well, then he revises his own code 2 years later or something. So yeah, just thought that would be neat to show off. So that ends our Pokemon into Animal Crossing. There's not a ton that came out of this that I thought was that interesting. The only thing that I found was that there's this file called Cat13, which is apparently a texture for a villager that we haven't seen before. People are calling this Catty or Katie, But
Uh-huh.
it's just called Cat 13 in the files. But yeah, you can see the textures on the left and what it would look like on an actual model on the right-hand side. And again, this is for, I believe, for the Animal Crossing for the N64 that was released in Japan.
Interesting.
Yep.
I agree.
So Dragonfly, everything that I've read up on this is it was a Pilot Wings prototype. Pilot Wings, if you don't know, is kind of this game where you fly around in an airplane. But this looked to be more of a space combat focused version of what later became Pilot Wings. So just some random sprites that you could find, some kind of alien looking ships, the title screen, stuff like that.
Looks like something that came from StarCraft.
Yeah, I mean, very space looking, very Terran looking stuff. Next, we had Star Fox.
Star Fox.
A little bit of Star Fox action. So this is on the right hand side was a tool that they found, and this was one of the earlier things that I was reading about in the leak. So I didn't do my research on what this tool actually does, but the creator of this tool and the guy that I was talking with at the very beginning, Dylan, I don't know if it's Cuthbert or Cuthbert.
It's Cuthbert, yeah.
He's actually worked on Star Fox 2, and he was the person that made this tool. So someone posted this tool on Twitter, and he came across it. Someone probably notified him of it, and he was like, I haven't seen this tool that I made in almost 30 years. Where are they getting this information from? So I mean, this was very early on in the leak, and this is, I feel like, what gave the leak a lot of its validity. I mean, this guy that worked on Star Fox 2 that made this tool is saying, yeah, I made this, I worked on this, and this is stuff that I didn't produce out into the public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that.
Or Dylan is behind all of this,
Yeah.
and we can't trust it.
I don't think he released it. This was, again, from Star Fox 2. It was like a beta level select. I'm not super...
With a ghost and blooper?
Yeah, it has all these...
Is that what that is?
So I watched an actual video of a build of this. It looks like just the planets at the beginning, but as you kind of just let the time go, if you just sit on the screen, basically, all these like Mario sprites just appear and they just like are moving around.
That's so weird. There's even like Kirby,
I know.
too.
Yeah, in the very bottom. It's so weird. So some developer was obviously having fun just putting like Mario sprites in here, which I don't think made it into the actual game.
No, I can confirm, having now played it.
This next image was just some different art that people had found in the files. It looks like a bunch of pilot images. And that's the thing. I'm not super well versed in Star Fox 2, so I don't really have a lot of knowledge on what the actual game looks like.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
These icons look pretty good too, though. Like they look like they put a lot of time.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not the art style of the game, but you know,
Right.
I'll update you when I
think it is
finish it by
either.
next podcast.
There you go. We can have follow up. You can confirm later. But yeah, like, I mean, you can see there's like some unfinished drawings and
A human.
yeah, a human. So, people were actually able to find a close to finished build that now they've actually compiled, and you can actually play of the prototype version. So this is what the start screen looks like. So you can see all the characters that we saw previously. I believe these are the actual characters that are in the game, but they just look a little bit different.
Do they know how similar this is to the version that was released for the SNES Classic?
That's what I don't know. And again, I'm not well versed enough in Star Fox 2 to... I watched the video, but I had nothing to compare it against. So you have to see. So that takes us to Legend of Zelda. Again...
Did Breath of the Wild 2 leak? Is that what you're about to tell me?
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately, they only got stuff from Super Nintendo era and N64 era. But that would have been so awesome if they had some details on that. So this was apparently... People are thinking that this was a Zelda 2 remake. Zelda 2... Again, we've talked about
it's a game.
Before on the podcast. It's definitely a game. We beat it. We had a very rough time with it. But, I mean, looking at these sprites, they're much different than what you see in that game. I mean...
Yeah, we got blood on the sword.
There's blood on the sword. There's much higher pixel count for the sprite. I mean, the colors are probably double what you see in the actual sprite.
Yeah.
They remind me of that, the anime or whatever that you always see the clips from. Excuse me, princess.
Oh,
what are you talking about?
The Zelda. There's like a Zelda. What was that? Was that from a TV show or was that from a game? I think it was from a PC game.
I thought it was a TV show.
I thought it was a TV show too,
you know,
but
the king,
that's what it reminds me
of.
of.
Hyrule was like, my boy.
Yeah, that's a TV show.
We need to watch that. Actually, we need to do like a stream where we watch that and react to that.
Okay.
All right, I'm up.
I'll do it.
Link to the Past. There was some stuff that came out for Link to the Past. Top left, you can see some early sprites and their comparison to what we actually saw release.
Ooh, you can see that the pink is his hair,
right?
Like distinctively.
Yes. And that's something growing up I always thought it was his hair, but at the same time I always had doubt in my mind. I was like, is that just part of his hat? Like, what is that?
I thought it was the hat. So.
In the very bottom left, people are thinking that this may be the entrance to Death Mountain, which is very different than what you see in game. Kind of the bottom middle. This was a map of the world. Lots of differences than what actually appears in game. And some very animated sprites of Link in the bottom right. Like lots of actions that don't appear in the game.
It almost looks like a kind of pseudo cutscene. You know,
yeah.
There was more to the cutscenes where he'd show emotion or whatnot.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really match the gameplay.
Right. Yeah.
Sprite, at least.
So getting a little bit more modern, they're able to find like these super high resolution images of like a ton of the items from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, all these images are just beautiful.
Which is crazy because when you see them in game or in like a strategy guide or something like that, they're so tiny that you can barely make out the textures or like really appreciate kind of the detail that went into a lot of these. So again, it's just nice to see the artwork, kind of how probably the artist saw it that worked on it.
Right. Not in 2 polygons.
Right. Like on the mirror shield, you can see all the colors, and like on the the hook shot, you can actually see like the chain wound up in the little chamber.
Yeah.
The magic beans actually have texture to them, which is crazy.
And I think we found our new logo for the Fourshade Studios Rumble Pak Podcast. Goes up in the top left. That's a Rumble Pak. Right.
Stone Rumble Pak, very ancient Rumble Pak. So they also found some enemies from Ocarina of Time. Top left, you can see like what looks like an Octorok. This looks so weird, like comparing that
I
to
love
what
it.
actually we saw in game.
It's like a Mario 64 enemy.
I know.
Kind of looks like Octavian from
Yeah,
Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was him on his angry day.
He's a cranky villager after all.
Again, it looks like they just dropped like assets they had laying around into that world. Like these assets don't look like they fit. Period. Not to mention the skeletons and the shop, but
Yeah.
the octopus and like the knight and stuff. They don't look like they'd fit in any environment really too well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like that night, I've seen old images of before Ocarina of Time was first supposed to come out, and they actually have that enemy in some of the images. So
Oh really?
they actually, I feel like they must have dropped that really late into the process or something. Because I mean, if you're pushing out marketing materials and you have images of those enemies, like the game's got to be close to being done.
Yeah.
So
Well, I can see that the sword button up there is red in whatever build that these screenshots are for, which is
right.
not the case.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's just because of the emulator they're using or what the deal is with that. In the bottom left, you can see the what are those called? Wall masters or something? They're basically the hands that
The
come down.
scariest enemy ever in a Zelda game? Yeah.
You see a shadow just falling on you, and then all of a sudden a hand grabs you and takes you into the floor.
Reasons it took me 8 years to beat Ocarina of Time. That.
Right.
Literally that.
And then you can see the skeleton. It more or less looks the same, but it looks different. It's just different textures than what we actually saw in game. Oh, this was something that was super neat. So, in the files again for Ocarina of Time, they found all of these things that looked like dungeon assets, but they were only sequences of 2 to 4 rooms long, ending in what looked like a boss arena. So what people are thinking is that they may have cut like a boss rush mode or like a mini dungeon mode where you'd do like 2 or 3 rooms of a dungeon and then fight a boss at the end. Or maybe
Things like that, like when those are planned and like that much detail and stuff, like the possibility that's there, that like what makes them want to cut that? Like obviously
That's
we
what I
would
don't
want to
know.
play that.
Right. One of my thoughts was, you know, at the very end of Ocarina of Time, when you go into Ganon's castle and you have to go through all the different areas, do all the like the medallion challenges.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, what if it was originally planned that you go through and do like mini versions of the previous dungeons and like do their boss or something. Maybe that's what unlocked Ganon, the final boss.
That would have been cool.
But yeah, it's just stuff like this where it's like you said, it's so close to completion. It's like it just makes me so curious on like why it was chosen to cut this content. Which honestly we'll probably never find out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that takes us, I think, to our last slide here. These are from Majora's Mask. So on the top image, all the different symbols with the different colors behind them, these are apparently days of the week or something, or they represent 7 different days. So people are saying that this is proof that Majora's Mask, instead of being on a 3-day cycle, was originally planned to be a 7-day cycle.
Huh.
That makes sense.
Which would have been crazy. I think that would have lent itself to a lot more like things that you could do in game for the quests, like multiple day quests. But I feel like it would almost have been too much.
Yeah,
right, that was my thing.
Sorry. No, you.
Has anyone, literally anyone, ever complained that there aren't enough quests in Majora's Mask as it is?
When it's like...
It'd be cool, but yeah.
It would be cool, but like, I think it was smart to condense it down to 3 days, because it literally would have been like, you could do like the smallest snippet of a quest on the very first day, and it would just be spread out over the entire week, which would just be way too long. Condensing it to 3, I think, makes for better plot progression, better story in these kind of side mission type things.
I agree. I think this is like very, very early stuff. Like they're just planning the scope of it, and then once they dove in, they're like, "Oh man, we're lowering it to 3."
Right.
Yeah. And when you start at 3 days, you feel like you're gonna die even when it's the beginning of day 1, because 3 days isn't that long.
Yep.
Yeah, that adds that anxiety portion to it.
Yeah. If it was 7 days, you'd be like, "Oh, I don't even have to worry about them.
Tomorrow.
I have so much time.
I got time.
I'll procrastinate and wait for the last 3 days."
Yeah.
So this bottom image here is actually what people think is a cut archery minigame from Majora's Mask that would have taken place in the Great Bay. Again, just content that we never got to see. And that is it for the stuff that we compiled for the Gigaleak. So,
that is not the end of the Gigaleak. There's definitely more out there.
It is not.
For sure.
It is not the end. There's so much stuff that's just like that just came out even today. I was looking at. I was just like, God.
I know. I keep seeing articles every day, new stuff.
Well, the thing is, as we go on, like at first it was just like, oh, here's a sprite sheet. Oh, here's some assets we found. But it's getting to the point now where they're actually figuring out how to make these things playable, which is awesome. So you can actually see them as they were kind of intended, if they have animation, if they're modeled, how they would look like in the actual game world.
And I think you have mentioned this earlier, but there was actual source code for Mario 64 in some other game, which makes it so much easier to complete these things and put them in runnable versions of the game.
Right.
So we're only going to see more of that.
Because now you can, instead of having to emulate, you can have it natively run on a PC or something, which is crazy. So yeah.
But terrible. Once again, you should not look at this because you're a bad person and I will track you down.
You heard it.
He will.
You heard it here.
Brock will hurt you.
If he's not napping.
Or eating bread.
We're drinking Coke.
Yep. We've got you pinned down, bro. We know everything about you. Alright, so any final thoughts on the Gigaleak?
I want to keep my private life private, okay?
I don't think any of that stuff is very private. Everyone knows that.
We've only been talking about it every single episode of this podcast. Alright, so any final thoughts?
My thoughts are that this is great for gaming history, and I really hope that Nintendo doesn't put a giant 14-foot wall across around all of their campuses now and stops talking to us because of it.
Yeah, it makes me...
Yeah.
I'm glad this stuff came out. It's unfortunate that it got leaked in definitely what was an illegal manner, but it's always just neat to see this stuff because I'm always curious on the inner workings of video games. So that's that.
What about Tyler, our esteemed guest?
Our esteemed
Any final thoughts?
guest.
Final thoughts.
Yeah. Sum it all up. Give us some things to think about.
Things to think about. Well, I don't know what to say there, Brock.
I see. Thank you.
Wow, way to put our guest on the spot like that.
Yeah, Jesus. I'm never coming back.
All right, so I think that's going to wrap things up. Tyler, you want to tell people where they can reach you?
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be on. Good working with you. I hope I can come back sometime and talk about more Nintendo stuff. If you liked hearing from me, you can find me at Dadbodgames on Twitch or at Dadbodgames on Twitter.
Excellent.
And you're always streaming, unlike us.
Right.
I'll always be pushing something out.
All right.
So if you want content, follow Dadbodgames.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to do it for us. So, Rumble Pak Podcast, brought to you by Fourshade Studios, can be found at all things Rumble Pak Pod, Rumble Pak Podcast. So catch us on YouTube, catch us on Twitter, Instagram. We would love to hear from you there, and we'll chat you up there. That's going to do it. See you guys in the next one.
Bye.
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 See ya.